All right, nobody wants to go to a home, but now and then you need to go to a home. Something goes on, you need to go for rehab therapy, or you have breathing problems, you need respirator care, and you may land there, someone may land there. I'd say 95% of the people in nursing homes don't need to be there. They're there for custodial reasons, meaning they need to be fed, bathed, toileted, and so forth. But this can happen at home with a home health aide. We have an agency for that. But, for the 5% that really do need skilled nursing tasks that really are unsafe at home without this type of care, you need to know about nursing homes. Nursing home access is fairly easy right now because a lot of people are using nursing homes as an end-of-life situation. It used to be more of a custodial care situation that, someone sneezes and they put them in a nursing home, and when they sneeze, their mother put them in a home. It's not like that anymore. Right now, it's become an end-of-life situation because of the look-back period that's being imposed now. No one plans on going to a nursing home, so you give gifts. There's tax allowable gifts you may be giving to grandchildren. There may be tuition payments you're making for children, for grandchildren, anyone other than yourself. These become an issue because right now Medicaid in New York is checking back your assets for a 5-year period. What that means is everything within a 5-year period that you've done in your financial records, which no one plans on going on Medicaid, so you never planned on someone looking through your papers, But whatever you've done, you have to account for any money coming into or going out of your estate in your bank accounts for a 5-year period. And these are cumulative, they add up. And the penalty doesn't start the day after you give a gift like it used to. A few years ago, before 2008, if you gave a gift in the beginning of the next month, the penalty would start going forward. The penalty was always tied to the average nursing home cost that Medicaid is paying the home in the area where you live. We always use a $10,000 a month figure. Okay, so say $10,000 a month is the average that Medicaid's paying for nursing homes in the area where you live. If you gave away $100,000, divide it by 10,000, you'd have a 10-month penalty. And in the past, before 2008, the penalty would start running going forward from that period. So if you were healthy enough to stay out of a nursing home setting for 10 months, in the 11th month, you'd be eligible for Medicaid, even though you gave money away. Well, that all changed in 2008, and the rules and the laws all changed, and now the penalty period is checked back for 5 years, not 3 years. And during that period of time, it's a cumulative factor. They add up. How much did you give away? If you gave away $11,000 this year, $15,000 that year, they add it up. The total amount of the penalty is calculated when you are otherwise eligible for Medicaid, you're in a nursing home, and you're asking Medicaid to pay the nursing home. So right now, I have to do 2 Medicaid applications. The first application is to determine the ineligibility period. How many months are you not going to get Medicaid? And then, when the period has run out, I have to do another application to actually get them onto the Medicaid program. Okay? The penalty doesn't start until you're in a nursing home and you're otherwise eligible for Medicaid, except because of the transfers. The problem with this is, if it goes back for a 5-year period, say someone gave away money and it's problematic, and 4 years and 10 months go by, and something terrible happens, they land in a nursing home, they need to get coverage. At that point, when they do the penalties on it, what if they gave away, $360,000 over that period of time, but it happened almost 5 years ago, but it wasn't quite 5 years. Okay, the penalty period is to take that $360,000, divide it by 10,000 a month, and you have 36 months of penalty. So they check back for 5 years, and all of a sudden you have to pay a nursing home going forward for another 3 years because of the penalties. So what's happened here is that the whole system was turned on its side, and people that ordinarily were going to a hospital, becoming sick, not able to really go home comfortably, their children didn't want to pay for 2 households, they'd put them in a nursing home where they write a check once a month, or they'd put them on Medicaid after the penalty period had passed by. Well, now, because of this new way of calculating penalties for nursing homes, it's really encouraging children to keep their relatives at home and to go to the house every weekend and pay the bills of their parents' household because they'd rather keep them home. And also, people live longer and do better at home than they do in nursing homes. You know? Exactly. The average nursing home stay is 2 years. Where at home, I've had relatives of family members and my clients live in their own home on services for 10 to 15 years. I have one woman right now who's 96 years old and she still goes to the opera and she still goes out, you know, and she's at home with 24-hour round-the-clock care, but it's working for her, you know. So, you know, the way nursing homes are operating right now, they do have quite a bit of vacancies. Basically because people aren't really using them for custodial care. If you have a fall, or you break a hip, you land in the hospital, you may have to go for therapy in a nursing home, rehab therapy for you know, a few weeks to a few months. And if you have Medicare, it ordinarily will cover you up to 100 days. If you have a copay or an insurance that covers the difference of that 80%, that covers that. And then they come home. And they put their Medicaid benefits and their home care back in place. New York has different rules for home care and for nursing home care. Okay, nursing home care checks back for 5 years. They impose penalties on gifts and transfers. Home care doesn't. Home care has a 3-month look back on checking accounts and a 1-month look back on assets the month you are applying. So, taking this into account, if you are willing to keep your relative or yourself home and out of a nursing home setting, and you were to take your assets and gift them, and then the next month apply for Medicaid, and I said to you, we're doing a Medicaid application, what are your assets? You'd say, nothing. Well, give me your checking account. I look at 3 months of statements. You quickly go on and are eligible for Medicaid without a problem. The only problem happens 1 year later because I consider Medicare like the mob. They wait till you're into them for a year, okay? Once you're into them and you're comfortable and they're paying your expenses and so forth, all of a sudden you have to recertify the case. That means reapply. It's not as arduous as the first time, but you have to show them that you're still eligible. Your income, your assets, your health care costs, and so forth, everything similar to what it was the year before, and then you get going for another year. But Medicaid has something called the recertification legal unit, and in that legal unit, they check. It's nicknamed the recovery unit for obvious reasons. What happens is they do a very thorough check with the IRS computers for any interest income earned on that applicant's Social Security number over the past 5 years. So even though you're not applying for nursing home Medicaid, once you're into home care Medicaid for 1 year, they do the same financial screen as if you were in a nursing home. Why do they do this? Because they want to determine your penalty period. If you need to go to a nursing home, what did you do in those 5 years? So, what I tell people is if you do gifts and transfers and you take your money and just outrightly gift it away, you have to be prepared for consequences if you should need a nursing home later. You really have to bite the bullet and be prepared to pay privately should you need a nursing home later. Or you can take the assets and you can turn them into an immediate Medicaid allowed annuity, which is not penalized because you're not gifting it. It's staying in your name. It has to be in your name. So it turns from an asset to an income flow. And that's where we also start utilizing the special needs pool trust again. Okay? As I said, any questions, just write them down and ask me at the end.